I found an incredibly wealthy marriage prospect through online dating. Every time I suffered humiliation from my unscrupulous boss, she'd transfer piles of money to my account. Until one overtime shift pushed me over the edge, and I furiously vented into my phone. I declared eternal enmity with that venomous, black-hearted capitalist Bianca. My online partner fell into an eerie silence, then asked, "Your boss is also named Bianca?" The biggest regret of my life was joining this company because I was captivated by the boss's looks. I thought it would be paid admiration of a beauty, but instead I face her indiscriminate attacks daily. At that moment, she was resting her head on her hand, two slender fingers tapping on the project proposal I'd pulled an all-nighter to write. After flipping through a few pages, she glanced at me, her voice utterly indifferent. "Team lead Miles, your proposal maintains remarkable equilibrium." I kept my eyes downcast, knowing there was more to come. It lacks both innovative ideas and feasible implementation plans, perfectly preserving a level of mediocrity. How do you achieve such consistency? I clenched my fists, wishing I could take off my leather shoe and smack her with it. But in reality, I just picked up the file she'd tossed on the desk, bowed my head with a smile, and said, "So Bianca, I'll revise it immediately." Bianca's icy gaze swept over me before she tapped the desk impatiently. Wyatt, standing nearby, immediately understood and obsequiously handed over the documents, not forgetting to shoot me a gleeful look. "Bianca, I stayed up 2 nights working on this proposal. Please take a look. Wyatt and I are from different planning teams. We've never seen eye to eye." Seeing his smug expression, my anger flared. I just hoped Bianca wouldn't have anything nice to say. Her words were often biting. Fortunately, she lived up to my expectations and delivered her usual sharp critique. "Deputy Wyatt, if hard work were a virtue, your 2-night proposal would be a moral exemplar. Sadly, I run a company, not a monastery. Perhaps you should seek opportunities elsewhere." Wyatt's smile froze, and he awkwardly took the documents Bianca tossed back. "So Bianca, I'll revise it right away." I suppressed a smirk, mentally giving Bianca a thumbs up. But the next moment, she stood up and said coldly, "If you don't submit a qualified proposal by tomorrow's end of work, go to HR and start the exit process yourself." "Damn boss," Bianca, giving a thumbs up then taking it back, making me work overtime till 10, finally finished revising the proposal. Just shut down the computer, and my online sweetheart messages me, "Baby, what are you up to?" I lowered my head and typed furiously, "Selling my soul to the heartless capitalist, I'm so bitter." Today I endured her verbal torture again. That wretched thing. Even a kiss from her could probably poison a boyfriend to death. "Oh, I forgot. That wretched thing is single, doesn't even have a partner." There are men and women in this world, but a creature like her really deserves its own separate species. She doesn't do a single thing that's remotely human. I vented a whole rant, the screen filled with green message bubbles. The next second, an orange transfer notification popped up, 888 yuan. "Baby, you've worked hard, treat yourself to something nice." All I can say is, money is the best skincare. Looking at the transfer amount, my resentment was doused by more than half, replaced by confusion and bewilderment. We're both women, how can the difference be so huge? She's my online sweetheart, whom I met in a game. Unlike Bianca, that heartless capitalist. My online sweetheart is gentle, considerate, generous, and polite, plus I get free daily views of her abs. Compared to her, Bianca is just a female. I stepped out of the office, typing a reply with my head down. "Baby, only you are the best in the world. With you, I'm a treasure. Wait half an hour, and I'll take you on an adventure through the arena when I get home, with kisses." I wanted to snuggle with my baby in the arena right away. Just as I was waiting for a reply, a tall figure appeared in my peripheral vision. I quickly put away my phone, unsure if I had just cursed at her. Feeling a bit guilty, I blurted out, "So Bianca, you're leaving work in person?" Bianca glanced up at me, responding coldly, "What? Do you want to clock out for me?" For that 6-figure monthly salary, my phone kept vibrating in my hand, probably my online crush replying, but I didn't dare open it. I was afraid she'd see my affectionate messages to her. That would be way too intimate. Once inside the elevator, I tried to make myself as inconspicuous as possible, staring at the changing floor numbers and wishing I could arrive in a second. Then, through the mirrored elevator door, I saw Bianca looking down at her phone. On her usually icy face, a strange smile appeared. Damn, Bosszilla Bianca actually smiled? Who on earth is this mysterious person on her phone? I was so stunned that I forgot to look away, and she caught me red-handed. Bianca's expression turned icy again as she looked at me coolly. "Team lead Miles, do I really surprise you that much?" After getting home, I quickly took a shower and lay in bed, ready to game. As soon as my online sweetheart logged on, I pulled her into the room. Baby, you're here. Missed you so much. Come give me a hug. Playing support hero today? Put on the new little dress I bought you. If my online sweetheart had any flaw, it was just her lack of gaming skills. But that's fine. Having one jungle ace in the family is enough. I handle the wild kills, and she's just here to look pretty. Back then, it was my solid gaming skills that won her over. A low chuckle came through the headset. Feeling better now? I replied with a grin. Much better. As long as I'm not breathing the same air as my heartless boss, my mood is absolutely fantastic. There was a brief silence on the other end, followed by a voice tinged with amusement. Then would wearing a mask to work tomorrow help? Me? Baby, don't be so cheesy. I got off work late today, so I only managed to play a few rounds before it was time to sleep. We switched from in-game voice chat to a WeChat call, and I reminded her, baby, I haven't seen your abs today. She quickly sent over 3 photos from different angles. I zoomed in on each one to admire them. Maybe because I stayed quiet for a bit too long, my online girlfriend asked with a laugh. Baby, do they look good? I kicked my legs wildly in the air. They're absolutely stunning. Even seeing them every day, I never get tired of them. Then, would you like to see them in person? My hand, which had been swiping through the photos, froze. We've been in an online relationship for almost a year now, and this was the first time the topic of meeting in person came up. Honestly, I was a bit hesitant, afraid she might not be what I imagined, and afraid I might not be what she imagined either. It all started so hastily back then, and I never expected we'd actually last this long. From our daily interactions, we actually get along pretty well. She's incredibly emotionally stable. No matter what kind of emotional baggage I dump on her, she always catches it and never gives any condescending, paternalistic lectures. Thinking about this, I felt a little tempted again. Sensing my hesitation, she didn't push the matter further. It's okay. If you're not ready, we can wait. Baby, don't stress. We can take it slow. A wave of warmth washed over my heart, followed by a surge of courage. I steeled myself. Baby, let's meet. This Saturday. How about going to see a movie? Today's Tuesday, so I still have 3 days to prepare properly. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end, followed by a light chuckle. Baby, it's just a meeting. No need to act like you're marching to your doom. Alright, first flaw of my online sweetheart spotted. Occasionally shows a bit of that black-hearted capitalist trait of Bianca, always catching me off guard with her humor. Besides watching a movie, what else do you want to do? Baby, do you prefer Chinese or Western food? Perhaps sensing my nervousness, she chatted with me about all sorts of things, mostly details about the meeting. In the end, we hadn't even decided on a restaurant, but we'd already ordered a whole table's worth of dishes in our conversation. For some reason, I suddenly felt much less nervous, even a little excited. The next day, I hummed a tune on my way to work and couldn't resist sending a message to my online sweetheart. Baby, just 2 more days until we meet. I'm so looking forward to it. Wish I could fast forward straight to Saturday. Saturday really is a great day. No need to see my boss's grumpy face, and I get to be close with you. After exiting the subway station, I still had to cross the street to reach the office. Just as I arrived at the crosswalk, I spotted Bianca waiting at the red light, seated in her red convertible Ferrari. I was about to lower my head and pretend not to see her when she happened to turn and look my way. No way out now. I forced a smile, ready to greet her. Before I could utter a word, her gaze shifted away, and she sped off just as the light turned green. Damn it, think you're so great with a Ferrari? Well, yeah, you kind of are. Can't this world make room for one more rich person? Once at the office, I headed to the break room to brew a cup of coffee. A colleague rushed over with a look of utter disbelief. Holy crap, big news. I just went in to deliver coffee to the big boss, and I actually saw her smiling at her phone. She actually smiles? Is she even human? I'm all for stirring the pot. If she couldn't smile, then she wouldn't be human, right? Holding my coffee, I recalled that scene in the elevator yesterday, also smiling at her phone. My colleague widened her eyes, covering her mouth as she whispered, could she be in love? When I left, I think I even heard her calling someone baby into the phone. Oh my god, what kind of celestial being is this, actually able to tame Bossilla Bianca? Thinking of Bianca's expressionless face every time she scolds someone, I can't help but shake my head. That mouth of hers, used for romance. Who's so unlucky? But that's not my concern. There are so many unlucky people in the world. How could I possibly keep track? The most important thing now is to take advantage of Bossilla Bianca's good mood. I need to quickly send over the revised project proposal, or I'll be in big trouble. My colleague was right. She must really be in love. After reviewing the proposal, not only didn't she scold me, but she even greeted me with a spring-like warmth, saying, good work, Team Lead Miles. Team Lead Miles. It's like she's a completely different person from the one who just sprayed me with exhaust fumes. I've never heard such a gentle tone from her before. Is this the power of love? Even a black heart can be bleached. I was utterly shocked, frozen in place, forgetting to react. Then she glanced at me with a smirk and said, "Still here? Waiting for me to escort you out?" I quickly made myself scarce. Back at my desk, my online crush had already replied. A photo of abs and a voice message. "Baby, next time we'll see each other in person." I listened to it 2 more times and something still felt off. Why did my online crush's voice suddenly sound a bit like Boss Bianca's? It must be that I was so shocked earlier that my brain went numb. Thanks to Boss Bianca's good mood, everyone had a decent 3 days in a row. They all speculated about who this mysterious person was that could tame Bianca, the heartless capitalist, to such an extent. It was almost to the point where the whole company could enshrine them. While everyone was busy gossiping, I was lost in the mix of joy and nerves about meeting my online crush in person. Tomorrow was Saturday. I was happily slacking off, waiting for the workday to end, when a colleague came to my desk. "Miles, so Bianca wants to see you in her office." As soon as I reached the door, I could hear her yelling again. The thick door couldn't muffle her icy tone. "What I want to see is the result of your thinking, not a live draft of your brain." "Great, your report successfully proves that your department has made 0 progress over the past month. Did you pick the data on page 3 out of a hat? The only thing in your proposal that isn't wrong is the page numbers. It seems your brain decided to work remotely today and didn't bother showing up with your body. Looks like the boss's law of attraction has failed." The office door opened, and everyone who came out looked as if they were mourning their own parents. I took several deep breaths, mustered a heroic mindset, and pushed the door open. Bianca sat in her expensive executive chair, her dark suit accentuating her refined, cool, and utterly elegant silhouette. I couldn't help but sigh. Such a beautiful face, yet she just had to open her mouth. Bianca slid a document toward me, her tone neither warm nor cold. "There's an urgent project here. You'll need to work overtime this weekend." My eyes widened. So she didn't call me in to scold me. She just wants me to slave away for her. I really wanted to throw the folder at her head. "It's urgent, very urgent. Finance will calculate triple pay for you." Damn, great god of wealth. Why didn't you wait until I was dead to drop this bombshell? Although Boss Bianca is sharp-tongued and demanding, she really does pay up when it counts. Who could refuse triple pay? I took the folder, smiled and said, "All right, so Bianca, last minute overtime. My date plans are ruined. I haven't figured out how to explain this to my online crush yet." She called first, saying it would get colder tomorrow, so I should wear an extra coat, and that we'd see each other in 14 hours. Hearing her caring voice, my guilt grew even stronger. Slumped on the couch feeling dejected, I said, "Baby, I might not be able to make it tomorrow. I have to work overtime at the office. I'm sorry." The other end went quiet for several seconds. I couldn't tell if she was angry. It would be normal to be angry. She'd been looking forward to it for days, only to be stood up last minute. I'd feel awful too. Just as I was about to apologize again, a new transfer notification popped up in the chat. 10,000 yuan. I was a bit stunned. "Why are you sending me money?" She chuckled, her tone utterly doting. "Working overtime on the weekend is tough. Baby, you should treat yourself well." My heart warmed. "Aren't you mad?" She sounded almost puzzled. "Why would I be mad? You're just working hard. It's not like you're deliberately avoiding me. Is that really wrong?" Oh my god, what an incredible online partner. I was so moved I nearly cried. "Wow, baby, you're too good." Along with the multiplying gratitude came a growing resentment toward Bianca. At this moment, I completely forgot my original intention of bending over for money to agree to overtime, and only wanted to slam the blame for ruining my date plans squarely on her head. Damn capitalists! I shot up from the sofa with the fervor of a rebel, roaring out, "I will never coexist with that bastard Bianca." Usually, my online crush would laugh and agree with me at times like this, but today she fell into an eerie silence. I thought she was startled by my vigorous voice. Quickly, I softened my tone. "Baby, I only curse my black-hearted boss like that, not you. You're nothing like her. She's a piece of shit. You're a sweet little cupcake. Hee hee, I really want to see you, but you'll have to be the princess in the castle for now. Once I finish slaughtering all this work, I'll come pick you up and take you home." Another stretch of silence followed, then she asked, "Your boss is also named Bianca? Also, who else has a boss named Bianca? Could she and I have the same boss?" I was stunned by this thought and stammered, "Your boss is also named Bianca?" After a moment of silence on the other end, just as I was about to sigh in relief, she spoke again. "I have a friend named Bianca." One sentence, and both sides fell into silence. So the heartless capitalist I've been cursing all this time is actually my online crush's good friend. Could anything be more awkward than this? Even with a face as thick as a city wall, I was left speechless. She was the one who broke the silence first. "Actually, we're not really friends, we've just met a few times." "Baby, I'm not that close with her. You can't blame me for this. As she said this, she sent over a few photos showing off her abs, even revealing a bit of her assets. What a mommy. My eyes lit up. How could I possibly blame her? I zoomed in to admire the photos while soothing her. Of course not, baby. I know you're not like her. You're so good, you should definitely stay away from her. Don't let her corrupt you. That Bianca isn't a good person. Alright, after chatting a bit more, she had something to take care of. She hurriedly hung up the call. I played some games by myself and then went to sleep. The next day, I went to the company to work overtime. Since I was the only one in the office, I didn't bother with headphones and just played music through the speakers. I was bobbing my head as I worked on the proposal, muttering to myself. When I looked up, Bianca was standing by the door, and I had no idea how long she'd been there. Startled, I quickly reached to turn off the speaker. Then, in my flustered haste, I knocked it over. The round speaker, blaring Wooming Mountain, and its surrounding peaks, rolled right to Bianca's feet. Bianca bent down to pick it up, her slender fingers pressing the power button. The room fell silent in an instant. My greeting came out a bit stiff. "So Bianca, what brings you here?" She walked over to my workstation and set the speaker down, her gaze somewhat inscrutable. "Thanks for the compliment." I took it as genuine praise. Bianca was a workaholic. She was tough on us and even tougher on herself. Most times we had to work overtime, she'd be in the office too, so her presence at the company now didn't strike me as odd. But her lingering by my workstation without leaving, that was strange. I had a feeling nothing good would come of it. I looked at her, my eyes questioning. "Is there anything else?" Only half the office lights were on, not particularly bright, and Bianca was backlit, making her expression hard to read. After a pause, she said, "It's lunchtime. Let's grab a bite together." Working overtime on a day off, then going out to eat with the boss. It felt weird, though I couldn't quite pinpoint why. Whatever, someone's treating me to a meal, so why not take advantage? We still had work in the afternoon, so we didn't go far, heading straight to a Western restaurant near the office. I checked it out when it opened. The per-person cost was shockingly high, definitely not a place I'd ever enter on my own dime. I happily took my seat, watching Bianca order all the dishes herself. And every single one was exactly what I'd been craving. Finally, the heavens have opened their eyes. This is all payback from Bossilla Bianca. Just as I was thinking that, Bianca handed me the menu. "See if you want to swap anything out or add something." I'd been ready to milk her for more, but then I remembered she knew my online crush. Better not, I decided. Gotta keep up appearances. I smiled. "No, this is fine." While waiting for the food, I pulled out my phone to message my online crush. "Baby, the heartless capitalist finally grew a conscience. She actually invited me to dinner. Even though I deserved it for all the overtime, I've decided not to curse her out today." Right after sending it, Bianca's phone on the table vibrated several times in a row. She naturally picked it up, her fingers swiping across the screen. Seeing something, the corner of her mouth curled up in that eerie way again. Now it all made sense. "My great boss husband, thank you for putting Bossilla Bianca in a good mood. Baby is so kind. What are you eating?" I lowered my head, suppressing a smile, my fingers flying across the screen. "Western food. A place so expensive it's criminal, where anyone who eats there is a total sucker. Waiting for the food now. Baby, don't hold back. Order whatever you want, no need to save money for her." Boss. Bianca suddenly spoke up. I jumped, quickly locked the screen and put down my phone, sitting up straight. "So Bianca, what is it?" Bianca looked at me, her tone unhurried. "No need to be so tense. It's after work hours now." I grumbled inwardly. What bullshit after work hours? Every second facing her is a battlefield in my duel with the heartless capitalist. But on the surface, I kept up a polite smile. Bianca picked up her water glass and took a sip. "How long have you been with the company?" I smiled. "1.5 years. "How do you find the company?" I kept smiling. "It's great. The colleagues are easy to get along with, the perks are excellent, and the boss is generous with compensation." Bianca rested her chin on her hand and suddenly smiled too. "Team lead Miles, are you interviewing me?" Before I could answer, she added, "Then what do you think of me as a person?" Her question caught me off guard, and I nearly choked on my water. "What do I think of you?" I think you're a black-hearted capitalist with arsenic on your tongue." But could I say something that would get me fired? Obviously not. I could only keep smiling. "So Bianca, you're young and accomplished, exceptionally capable, a role model for all of us." Bianca raised an eyebrow, her slender fingers tapping lightly on the desk with a faint sound. "Oh, is that all?" She leaned forward slightly, her deep eyes seeming to see right through everything. "In private, no other opinions?" Alarm bells instantly went off in my head. What did she mean by that? Could she know I curse her behind her back every day? That can't be right. I never leave any traces when I curse her at the office. She must be trying to trick me. Bosszilla Bianca, sharp-tongued and black-hearted, I wasn't wrong about her. She's even learned to bait and trap me now. I forced myself to stay calm, looking at her with sincere eyes. So Bianca, you're my superior. Of course, I should only have professional opinions about you. I mentally applauded myself for such a high EQ response. Bianca stared at me for a few seconds, then slowly leaned back in her chair, letting out a low, ambiguous chuckle. Is that so? Just then, the appetizers arrived, perfectly saving me from the awkwardness. I immediately buried myself in eating, determined to uphold the fine virtue of no talking during meals. Thankfully, Bianca didn't press further. Aside from her sudden, bizarre question, I still enjoyed the meal quite a bit. On the way back, I trailed behind Bianca and secretly messaged my online crush. Baby, this place is so good, I'll treat you next time. It's not like they say, overpriced and not worth it. Whoever eats here is a total sucker. I typed back, it's fine. For you, I'm willing to be a sucker for once. It really is delicious. I want to eat it with you. Kisses already noted down all the tasty dishes. Yay. I was typing away, completely caught off guard when Bianca suddenly stopped. Before I could react, I bumped right into her back. Clutching my forehead with a grimace, I stepped back, biting back the urge to curse. Bianca lowered her gaze. Who are you chatting with so intently? I must have knocked my brain silly, because I could have sworn Boss Scylla Bianca was looking at me with an oddly tender expression. It's all her fault for being as hard as a brick wall. Work injury. This is definitely a work injury. I rubbed my forehead again. With my girlfriend. Something flickered in Bianca's eyes, too quick for me to catch. She didn't press further, turning to continue walking, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the air around her had shifted. Who managed to put her in a better mood? That afternoon, I focused on my work. Since Bianca hadn't left yet, I didn't dare play anything out loud. Reluctantly, I put on my headphones. Over the course of the day, I received 3 deliveries, a bouquet of flowers, 2 milk teas, and a small cake. Just as I was puzzling over it, my online crush sent a timely message. Baby, did you get the delivery? So it was from her. I quickly replied with a flood of kissy face emojis. Baby, oh my god, what would I do without you? This is just too wonderful. I'm going to savor this sweetness of love first. You've worked so hard with all that overtime, baby. My mood soared straight up. Sipping milk tea and nibbling cake, I hummed a tune while rushing through the proposal, completely unaware of the blinds in Bianca's office that had quietly been drawn open. Maybe there were just too many happy things today. Even after a full day of overtime, I didn't feel tired at all. After my shower, I was still full of energy, racing through the arena with my online partner. Before bed, as usual, we had our long phone chat. She suddenly asked, Baby, why do you hate Bianca so much? I thought about it and said, I don't actually hate her. My online partner fell silent for a moment, her tone tinged with confusion. But you curse her out every day. I was equally puzzled. So what? Cursing her and hating her are two different things. After saying it, even I felt something was off. It sounded like my left and right brains were fighting each other. But it was the truth. The reason I curse Bianca is because she's a heartless capitalist. It all started with a small incident. I had just been headhunted over not long before, and one day I happened to see Bianca yelling at someone. The girl being scolded was an intern, not particularly talented, but very hardworking. I'd run into her staying late at the office alone several times. That time, she'd apparently messed up some data, and Bianca's sharp tongue had made her cry on the spot. Feeling a bit sorry for her, I tried to put in a word or two, but Bianca wasn't having any of it. Her gaze was icy, her tone rigid. Team lead Miles, don't tell me how hard the process was. A surgeon doesn't care if the scalpel gets tired, I only need to see the results. From her perspective, there was nothing wrong with what she said, but it was just too cold-blooded. After that, I often cursed her in private as a heartless capitalist. But Bianca, though her words never held back, wasn't truly that cold in how she operated. The company's compensation was top tier in the industry. Though the pressure was high and the workload heavy, the pay matched it. Overtime was double wages and meals and taxi rides were reimbursed. The marketing department often requires social engagements, but Bianca made it clear, normal networking is fine, but if a client tries to force drinks or push for inappropriate favors, we should call the police immediately, regardless of the deal. That's the leverage she gave us. Including 2 months ago, when an employee from the marketing department got into a car accident outside work hours, Bianca still counted it as a work injury because he was from a single-parent family and his mother was seriously ill. There are many similar cases. As an employee, Bianca is a good boss, but work is work. How could there not be any frustrations? Her words are so sharp, I don't dare argue with her face to face, but that doesn't stop me from venting behind her back. So, I don't dislike her, but that doesn't mean I won't complain about her. Perfectly reasonable. My online crush chuckled after hearing this and then asked, So, what do you think she looks like? I blurted out without thinking, What do you mean? She's absolutely stunning. As soon as I said it, I realized something was off. Why was she suddenly asking me all this today? Ever since she found out last night that my boss is Bianca, she's been subtly probing. Could it be she's feeling threatened? It's true, Bianca's face is so perfect it looks like it was digitally modeled. Any woman would feel insecure seeing it. I silently cursed myself for speaking too quickly and immediately started to backtrack. Baby, what I meant was, her beauty is a hassle. With looks like hers, she's bound to attract all sorts of unwanted attention. Her boyfriend must be constantly annoyed. I don't like her type at all. I only like yours. She fell silent for a few seconds, then suddenly sighed. What if I'm not the type you like? I cut off her self-doubt right away. Don't think like that, baby. You're incredibly special and wonderful. No matter what you're like, I'll always like you. She was clearly soothed by my words, her voice sounding cheerful again. Good baby. Remember what you said? A new week began. Early Monday morning, boss Zilla Bianca launched into her signature verbal assault. The entire planning department was torn to shreds. Did all your brains go on vacation together? She tossed a file onto the table. Is this a project proposal or a grade school essay? I quickly glanced over. Thankfully, it wasn't from our team. I could see Wyatt sweating bullets beside me. I almost wanted to jump up and applaud. That scoundrel, always so skilled at fabricating achievements out of thin air and slipping away when problems arise, totally deserves it. Bianca's sharp tongue continued. Deputy Wyatt, I understand your abilities have limits, but I didn't expect the ceiling to be so low you could reach it with your hand. If you hand me another proposal like this next time, don't bother coming back. Wyatt was sweating profusely, quickly picking up the documents and nodding repeatedly. Team lead Miles. I was suddenly called out while watching the scene, my heart tightening as I looked up to meet her icy gaze. I took a deep breath, preparing for the storm. However, she paused, her eyes lingering on my face for 2 seconds before shifting away. She slid a project proposal toward me, her tone still cold and rigid. The data on page 6 isn't the latest. Revise it and get it back to me. That was it? Just a drizzle. I hesitated for a second before quickly taking the file, afraid she'd forgotten to scold me. Yes, CO Bianca. In the following days, this unusual pattern continued. Bianca remained sharp-tongued and demanding toward me, but she always showed leniency at critical moments. Once when I was giving a report, I accidentally read a number wrong. She just calmly corrected me without scolding me. My colleagues started looking at me with a mix of awe and fear. Several people even came to ask me privately if I'd visited some temple over the weekend. Before I could figure out what was going on, the company team-building event arrived. The company has an annual employee trip, and besides that, whenever a project does particularly well, they organize additional team outings. This time the location was set at a resort in a neighboring city. I excitedly shared with my online crush, baby, we're going on a team-building trip this week. I'm so happy. Where to? Is the location set? Me, Pine Creek Resort. We can see the ocean. I really love the sea. What a coincidence, baby. I'll be at Pine Creek this week too. Want to meet? Since I stood her up last time, we hadn't mentioned meeting again. Despite my usual bold talk, I'm actually quite passive about these things. If she didn't bring it up, I'd never take the initiative. But since she did, I didn't want to refuse. Sure, baby, we'll definitely meet this time. Before leaving, I even got my hair styled specially. I brought several stylish outfits, determined to impress her with my looks. The team-building event lasted 3 days, with company-organized activities during the day and free time in the evenings. When colleagues invited me out, I declined. I returned to the hotel, took a shower, and changed into a black suit. After carefully grooming myself, I grabbed the flowers I had pre-ordered, hailed a taxi, and headed to the seaside restaurant we'd agreed on. The waiter led me to the reserved table, which had an excellent view. The sound of the waves was clear and distinct, and the sea breeze, carrying a damp, salty scent, was intoxicating. The atmosphere was overwhelmingly romantic. I messaged my online crush, sweetie, I'm here already, 3rd row by the window. I'm wearing a black suit with chestnut short hair, waiting for your kiss. After sending the message, I suddenly felt inexplicably nervous. My heart was pounding wildly, and I kept glancing toward the entrance. For some reason, I was the only customer in the restaurant. Business must be really slow. Hopefully the food isn't terrible. Just as I was thinking that, I saw the waiter escorting someone inside. To create a romantic ambience, the lighting in the restaurant was somewhat dim and yellowish. From a distance, I couldn't make out her face clearly. I saw a pair of long legs, longer than my life expectancy, and a tall, somewhat familiar figure. As the person drew closer, their outline gradually sharpened. Bianca, what was she doing here? She'd clearly said she wasn't coming to the company team-building event. Running into your boss while meeting an online crush in person? How awkward. And now the waiter was leading her straight toward me. Thinking fast, I propped up the menu to hide my face, silently chanting, "Don't see me, don't see me." Footsteps halted right at my table. Then came a familiar voice, tinged with playful amusement. "Miles, are you using the menu to perform an invisibility trick?" "Well, I'd been spotted." I set the menu down and feigned surprise. "Bianca, what a coincidence. Here for dinner too?" Bianca looked down at me, her expression inscrutable, a faint, ambiguous smile curling at the corner of her lips. She pulled out the chair opposite me and sat down gracefully. Her gaze swept over the bouquet beside my hand before settling steadily on my face. "Not a coincidence. I'm meeting someone." "Meeting someone? Then why sit at my table?" In an instant, a flash of insight struck. An utterly absurd thought exploded in my mind like thunder. Could she actually be my online crush? Bianca said nothing, just propped her head up and watched me. I swallowed hard, trembling as I picked up my phone and opened the chat with my online crush. "Are you here yet?" The message had just been sent when Bianca's phone across from me chimed, a crisp notification tone piercing the quiet room. Bianca held her phone to her lips, pressed the voice button, and spoke in a gentle tone. "I'm right across from you, baby. Some people may seem alive, but they're already halfway to the grave." Good heavens, are you messing with me? What the hell? Falling for my boss online. Is that even right? Just thinking about how I've been cursing her to her face as a heartless capitalist, calling her a scumbag and a jerk, makes me cringe so hard I could dig a hole with my toes. And I called her baby, even drooled over photos of her abs every day. After all those cringy, lovey-dovey things I said, if I've committed any sin, let the law punish me, not force me to face such an awkward, mortifying situation. Earth is no longer a livable planet. I abruptly stood up, the chair legs scraping harshly against the floor. "Sorry, Sio Bianca, there must be some misunderstanding here. Let me go back and write a report to explain." "Never mind that, just run." The moment I turned, my wrist was caught. That warmth spread all the way to my face, and I didn't dare look back. Bianca's voice came from behind, tinged with a hint of helplessness. "Miles, I didn't mean to deceive you. At first, I didn't know either. It was only when you suddenly mentioned your boss was named Bianca that I realized it was you. Actually, I only found out a little earlier than you. I didn't tell you right away because I was afraid it would scare you, and I worried you might not accept it. Let's eat first, okay?" The initial surge of intense emotion had passed, and I calmed down a bit, though I was still awkward. Sensing my hesitation, Bianca tightened her grip on my wrist slightly. But her tone grew even gentler. "The lobster and steak are already ordered. It'd be a waste not to eat them. There won't be anyone else here, just us. So that's why such a nice restaurant was completely empty. She'd booked the whole place." Talk about throwing money around. After a moment's thought, I sat back down. Bianca waved her hand, signaling the waiter to begin serving. I kept my head down, focusing on my meal, then remembered the last time at the Western restaurant near the company, sitting across from her while sending her messages. Social suicide. Absolutely epic-level social suicide. All enjoyment vanished from the meal, as if we were performing a pantomime. During dessert, Bianca finally spoke. "The flowers you carefully prepared, aren't you going to give them to me?" My hand paused, I glanced at her quickly, and handed over the flowers. Bianca took them and placed them on her lap. "The flowers are beautiful. I like them very much." I kept my head down without speaking, but slowly, a sense of reality settled in. I connected the person before me with the gentle yet aloof one from my phone. After the meal, I prepared to return to the hotel. Bianca walked with me along the seaside, still holding the bouquet in her hand. After thinking it over the whole way, I finally spoke up. "Let's break up." The beach was empty, the sea breeze gentle, yet her presence beside me remained overwhelmingly strong. Bianca paused, her tone calm. "But, afraid you'll be poisoned if you kiss me? I feel like jumping into the sea right now. Just let me die." Fuming with humiliation, I glare at her. "If murder weren't illegal, you'd already be dead." Bianca lets out a light laugh. "Murdering your own wife?" The melancholy in my heart is all tangled up by her antics. Right now, I just want to smack her. Bianca looks at me. "Then why not me? Just because I'm Bianca? Is it too late for me to change my name now?" I fall silent for a long moment, my short hair fluttering in the wind. "Because it doesn't feel real. I can't see you and her as the same person. I never imagined she could be you." Bianca grabs my wrist again. "Miles, you've never seen her. So why can't she look like me? Are my face and abs not good enough for you? Am I really that shallow?" I glance at her and speak my mind. "You and her are nothing alike. She's so gentle. How could she possibly be Bossilla Bianca? This is just too disillusioning." Bianca pauses for a moment, her tone carrying that unique calm of hers. "As a boss, employees' personal feelings aren't within my concern. They'll adjust themselves when they see their paychecks." But as a girlfriend, my boyfriend's personal feelings are my top priority. I spoke harshly to you earlier because I didn't know my boyfriend was right in front of me and didn't recognize you in time. I've reflected deeply on this. Can you really not forgive me? The sea breeze gently blows, carrying a soft, damp touch that ruffles my heart as well. I looked up at Bianca without speaking, but the resistance I initially felt had already faded. When Bianca speaks properly, she really does sound a lot like her. Her tone was calm and measured, sounding both sincere and reassuring. Bianca paused for a moment, her voice softening further, gradually overlapping with the one I'd heard through the phone. You once said you'd like me no matter what I was like. Does that no longer hold true? Now I just regret being such a chatterbox before, spilling words carelessly as if they cost nothing. And now I'm left with a pile of evidence against myself. I stammered, unable to form a complete sentence for the longest time. Bianca took advantage of the moment to pull me a little closer. Didn't you say you wanted to feel my abs when we met? She took my hand and gently placed it on her left side, just above the waist. Through the thin fabric, my fingertips could feel the intense warmth radiating from her skin. I tried to pull my hand back, but she held it tightly, not letting me retreat. Baby, give me a chance. In the dim seaside light, Bianca's deep silhouette looked even more exquisite against the night. Those usually cold eyes now carried the scent of the sea breeze, swirling with profound tenderness. I swallowed unconsciously. Let's give it a try first. Lust clouds judgment. It truly does. Lying in bed tossing and turning, I hated myself for being so weak. How could I have been seduced into agreeing like that? She's Bossilla Bianca after all. Just as I was restlessly shifting in bed, my phone buzzed. Forgot to say, you looked really handsome today. My face flushed, and I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from curling up. What do you mean? I'm handsome every day. You're just noticing now? Guess my eyesight's failing. I'll make an appointment to get them checked when I get back. I burst out laughing. The next day, while I was having breakfast, a colleague mysteriously slid their tray over. Miles, guess who I saw last night? I took a sip of coffee. Who? It was CO Bianca. Yesterday when I went down to buy something, I saw her checking in at the hotel. She looked in an incredibly good mood. She even nodded back when I greeted her. Holy crap, when have I ever gotten that kind of treatment? Is she here on a honeymoon with the boss? I choked on my coffee and started coughing. My colleague quickly handed me a napkin. How could you be so careless? Bianca seemed pretty busy. She didn't join the daytime activities and only made a brief appearance at lunch. In the evening, I got a message from her. Got a moment? Come to my room. Before I knew it, I was already standing outside Bianca's door. I admit, I did want to see her a little. Using the key card the staff had given me, I opened the door and went in. It was a sea view room with an incredible panorama. The floor-to-ceiling windows faced the ocean, and the sunset glow had dyed the sea a shimmering gold. But the room was empty. Only faint sounds came from the bathroom. Bianca seemed to be taking a shower. My breath hitched, calling me over while she's showering. What does she mean by that? Not that it's impossible, but this is way too sudden. Just as I was thinking, the bathroom door opened. Bianca emerged in a simple bathrobe, her hair slightly damp, looking fresh and approachable. She raised an eyebrow at me, her tone teasing but her gaze gentle. Planning to stand guard at the door? What did you call me here for? Bianca didn't answer, just walked up to me and sighed softly. Still nervous, huh? She stood very close, the fresh scent of her shower gel mingling with her natural coolness, creating a peculiar allure. I instinctively wanted to step back, but she reached out and wrapped an arm around my waist. Where's the courage you had online, calling me baby and asking for cuddles? My cheeks instantly flushed crimson with embarrassment and indignation. That's different. How was I supposed to know it was you behind the screen? She lowered her head. Now you know, my flight to Sydney leaves at 8 today. A week-long business trip. Before I go, I'm here to fulfill my promise. Before I could grasp what she meant, she guided my hand, sliding it under the hem of her clothes and pressing it against her firm waist and abdomen. This time, there was no fabric barrier. The contours and warmth of her muscles were unmistakable, 100 times more impactful than any photo. My heart pounded like a drum. I wanted to pull my hand back, yet couldn't bear to part with that exquisite sensation. Satisfied, I thought, though my mouth remained stubborn. It's acceptable. She said nothing, only let out a soft, low chuckle. Leaning down, she drew slowly closer, pausing just as our noses brushed. May I? I had been nervous, but her question made me laugh. I gave her a playful shove. No, you. Before the word could fully leave my lips, it was swallowed back into my throat. It was a light kiss, lingering only a few moments at the corner of my mouth before retreating. I opened my eyes and saw the glimmer of amusement in Bianca's gaze. Before I could speak, she cradled the back of my neck and kissed me again. Different from the earlier tentative brush, this one was deep and urgent. Her tongue parted my lips, and our mouths tangled together. A long moment later, she held me in her arms, her voice soaked with laughter, mimicking my earlier tone. "Sweetheart, you're a fragrant little cake." Though Bianca was away on a business trip and not physically in the office, her sharp tongue traversed the internet and time zones, landing impartially on every head in the marketing department. "So, your conclusion is that the market environment is too poor. What I need are solutions, not excuses for incompetence. If uselessness were an art form, you'd already be the modern-day Picasso. At your current work pace, you'll never outrun the company's decline." The meeting content was temporarily irrelevant to me, so I sat at the far end of the conference table and quietly pulled out my phone to slack off. That's when I noticed Bianca had sent me a message 20 minutes earlier. "It's raining in Sydney today. I miss you so much." Staring at the screen, her features looked gloomy, her beauty strikingly cold and severe. My feelings were complicated. I typed back, "In a meeting. So Bianca is on a rampage." So scared. I figured she was busy and wouldn't see it, but the next second she opened her phone right in front of everyone. Bianca's expression didn't change at all, but she stopped berating us, highlighted a few more key points, and then adjourned the meeting. I packed up my things, ready to bolt, only to be called out. "Team lead Miles, stay behind." Colleagues filed out of the conference room, shooting me knowing looks on their way. Why did I have to provoke her? The day Bianca returned coincided with the company's victory gala for a major project. She came straight from the airport to the banquet hall, dressed in a black suit, travel-worn yet still exuding an aura of refined elegance. Many people gathered around her, but she responded with a detached air. Midway through the gala, I received her message. "Parking garage, Zone B, baby, waiting for you." I slipped into the garage like a thief, wishing I had eyes in the back of my head. A secret affair is thrilling, but it's not exactly heart-friendly. As I approached the black Bentley, the rear door opened, and an arm reached out to pull me inside. I was drawn into an embrace that carried a cool, crisp scent. The car's interior was dimly lit, filled with a faint aroma of alcohol. "Miss me?" a low voice murmured in my ear, tinged with weariness but mostly with lingering affection. Before we'd met in person, I never felt this way. This time, after just a week apart, it felt like an eternity had passed. I didn't say a word. In the dim light, I kissed her slightly cool lips. Bianca paused in surprise, then took the lead, pouring a week's worth of longing into that kiss. The next day, I went to work feeling refreshed and energetic, only to notice that everyone in the office was giving me strange looks. Several people seemed on the verge of saying something but held back. In the end, a colleague who often gossiped with me sent me a photo. It was a shot of me getting into Bianca's car last night. Someone had clearly taken it, though I had no idea who. I was startled. "You all know about it?" My colleague was equally shocked. "So it's true." I felt awkward, given our shared history of cursing out Boss Scylla Bianca together. Now, I'd practically defected. "I didn't mean to hide it from you." Before I could finish, Wyatt walked over with his coffee, his tone dripping with undisguised sarcasm. "I always wondered how every project team lead Miles handled turned out so successful. Turns out he's just climbing into the client's bed." Did he even realize what he was saying? I glanced at the others' expressions and sensed something was off. I opened the photo again for a closer look. Well, only I was in the shot, not Bianca. Someone really knew how to frame a picture. I put away my phone, gave Wyatt the once-over, and shook my head. "What, are you jealous?" "But honestly, Deputy Wyatt, with your looks, you'd have a hard time climbing up there even if you paid for the privilege." Wyatt's face turned green with rage. "Miles, what are you so cocky about? Just wait until CEO Bianca gets here. You'll be packing your bags and leaving. She can't stand lowlifes like you." I shrugged. "Is that so? Well, I'll be waiting." I couldn't be bothered with him and headed straight back to my desk. 10 minutes later, Bianca arrived at the office. I spoke in a sharp tone. "Hold it right there." Everyone turned to look at me, seemingly shocked that I dared to speak to Bianca in such a manner. I forwarded the photo to her. "Check your WeChat." Their astonishment reached a new level. Bianca never adds colleagues' personal WeChat accounts, only work and business contacts. Even Bianca herself looked puzzled. But she still stopped by the door and opened WeChat. "I don't know who took it. You go investigate." Wyatt accused me of sleeping with a client. "I'm suing him for defamation, and I need to borrow your legal department." At that point, everyone understood perfectly. Their gazes shifted from shock to awe, especially my gossip-loving friend. I could almost feel her fainting from excitement. Bianca put away her phone, her gaze icy. "Deputy Wyatt, so your poor work performance is because you're moonlighting as a paparazzo? The person in that photo is me. Would you like to crawl under my bed and take another shot?" That afternoon, Wyatt was fired. As for the lawsuits regarding unauthorized photography and defamation, Bianca told me not to worry about it anymore. I never expected my relationship with Bianca to be exposed this way. It was just too ridiculous. I stormed into her office and gave her a piece of my mind. If she hadn't insisted I come see her yesterday, none of this would have happened. And they only caught me on camera, making me look like the bad guy. When I stepped out, my colleagues eagerly handed me a small cake. Wow, the boss was right beside me all along. With our friendship, I hope Bianca will go easy on me from now on, okay? I thought she'd be upset about my betrayal, but she accepted it surprisingly fast. After going public with Bianca, we didn't have to hide anymore. She started driving me to and from work every day. She'd also stay in the office waiting for me when I worked overtime, completely justified. Eventually, we even moved in together. Though there was some quiet gossip around the company for a while, Bianca's firm stance and my consistent work performance quickly put an end to the rumors. In the end, they noticed a pattern. As long as I went in with her to report on work, Bianca would show a bit more leniency. Everyone went from initial shock to happily accepting it. Colleagues started shipping Bianca and me, occasionally teasing me, "Miles, could you take this document to Bianca? She'll be in a better mood seeing you deliver it, and she'll approve it faster." Team lead Miles, could you suggest to CEO Bianca that we add taro boba to the afternoon tea? She'll definitely agree if it's something you like. I couldn't help but laugh. I'd really become the company's mascot. One evening, I was curled up on the sofa playing a game when Bianca came out of the study. Before I could finish, she hugged me and watched as I skillfully took down enemies. "You're so good, baby. Is this how you used to protect me?" I didn't look up. "Well, you were just that bad at it." She didn't say anything, and I didn't think much of it. When the game ended and I was about to start another round, she snatched my phone and tossed it aside. "What are you doing?" She smiled. "What do you think?" Before I could speak, she leaned in and kissed away all my protests. Outside, the moonlight was just right. Inside, warmth and tenderness lingered. From the screen to reality, from her to Bianca, my love had always been by my side. The end.